Hey, it's Kim Commando Today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to commando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. Let's kick things off with a little bit of fun and games. All right, if you're looking for something great to watch, check out the movie Tetris. It's just superb. It goes through the history of Tetris that was created back in 1984 by a Soviet computer programmer, a guy by the name of Alexei Pachinov. And the game's name is actually a combination of the Greek word tetra, which means four, because all the game's pieces are made up of 4 blocks, and tennis, which was Petrov's favorite sport. Anyway, the way that the game got out of the Soviet Union is more like a spy novel in a movie. So anyway, in case you're looking for something to watch, just check it out. It's Tetris on Apple TV. And you know, I started playing Tetris, and it taught me some valuable life lessons, like this one. If you try to fit in, you're just going to disappear. And on that happy note, I'm Kim Commando, America's digital goddess. And hold on to your hats, folks, because you're about to get a whole lot smarter when it comes to tech, because everything around us is a tech thing, from the phone in your pocket to the fridge in your kitchen. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And just a quick reminder, you can always drop me your questions over at commando.com. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I check out at least 30 different websites to make sure that you're up to date on all things digital. And let's talk about the top 5 things in tech news that you need to know about. And we're going to start with something that everybody's talking about, ChatGPT. And it's notoriously unreliable. For example, it insisted that my real name is Kimbra N. Tomney, and that I changed it to Kim Commando like 30 years ago. Well, that's one thing. But what if it accuses you of any wrongdoing? The mayor of a village called Hepburnshire, about 70 miles outside Melbourne, Australia, is getting ready to sue ChatGPT. Why? Because it insists that he served prison time for a bribery scandal involving the Bank of Australia in the year 2000, when in reality, Mayor Hood was at the time working for the company that prints Australia's money. And he was the one who notified authorities about the scandal. So he wasn't the bad guy. He was the good guy. So naturally, Mayor Hood claims slander and says his reputation's damaged. But you do have to wonder what other lies that this chatbot is just passing off as fact. And by the way, Kim Commando is my real name. And before you say it, yeah, I do go commando. Next on our list at number 2, Airbnb scams. A woman by the name of Olivia booked an Airbnb property in Jacksonville, Florida for a music festival. And everything seemed legit at first, but as the date drew closer, Olivia started to get suspicious. Why? The Airbnb superhost went silent, just stopped answering her messages. So when she arrived at the property with her friends, they found that none of the door codes worked. They kept calling the superhost, no answer. And then a neighbor popped by and said, hey, you know what? The same exact thing happened to a couple last night. It turns out that the superhost had been evicted. So Olivia and her friends were stuck like, what are we going to do? And in a TikTok video watched about 20 million times, Olivia tracked down the superhost, found the superhost parents, and then threatened him to say, I'm going to call your parents unless you give me my $1,000 back. And guess what? The host called right back. She got her money back. So the moral of the story is just because you see a superhost on Airbnb doesn't always mean that the host is going to be super. And here's to hoping that whatever his parents told him was worse than him getting booted off Airbnb. Oh, by the way, there have been some big changes in pricing at Airbnb. That's coming up in just a bit on the show. You don't want to miss that. Next on our list, coming in at number 3, the death of the Metaverse. That's right. It was the tech's hottest concept 2 years ago. It was supposed to be this beautiful utopia, make-believe world where you could be anything or anybody or do whatever you want. Well, the idea became an obsession for Mark Zuckerberg, and he totally bet the farm on it. And this past week, he said, well, after spending billions of dollars, I don't think it's actually going to work. Disney, Microsoft, and others have bailed out. The value of Metaverse virtual real estate has cratered by 95%. And so as far as Mark Zuckerberg goes, he says, now, forget the Metaverse. We're going after artificial intelligence. Welcome to the party, Mark. Next up, number 4, golden years of podcasts. Is it over? NPR canceled a hit podcast once thought to be untouchable this past week. At one time, Invisibilia was downloaded 40 million times in its first 3 months of life. It cost $1 million an episode to make, and now it's all gone, saying, like, what's going on with podcasting? Because, like making a hit record, the bar to the world of podcasting is pretty high. I mean, anybody can be a podcaster, but to be a great podcaster, sometimes it's like getting struck by lightning. Now, no one really knows how many podcasts are exactly out there. It's in the millions. But we do know that just a few have big audiences that translate to big advertising money. So Vanity Fair came out this past week and they said that the dumb money, that advertisers who just threw dollars at everyone, is totally gone. And then there's this unsettling feeling that this year many other podcasts will be gone too. But I'll tell you, I just can't move past it that National Public Radio spent $1 million per podcast, per 45-minute or hour-long podcast. I just don't know how you spend that kind of money. It's unfathomable to me. And last, this coming in, let's talk about solar, because here we are in 2023, living in a country that's been pushing solar for every rooftop. But most rooftops actually look the same as they did 50 years ago, and here's why. Back in 2016, Tesla acquired a company called Solar City. You might remember them. Had commercials everywhere, promising government programs to help you afford a solar rooftop, reduce your power bill to just pennies every month, and of course help fight global warming. Well, Tesla planned to install 1,000 solar roofs a week, about 60,000 a year, 500,000 solar rooftops today. But instead, CNBC reports that they've installed just 3,000. So what happened? Rooftop solar is completely unrealistic unless you own your home, you have a high FICO score of 680 or better, and you live in a state with laws that require utility companies to buy your excess energy. This, unfortunately, disqualifies about 80% of the country. And get this, a solar panel was talking to a wind turbine. That's right. And the solar panel says, "So what do you think about this whole renewable energy thing?" And the turbine replies, "I'm a big fan." Yes, that's right. All right, coming up, we have the hidden costs at an Airbnb. We have 5 photos to land a first date in that dating profile. Oh, we're also going to talk about how you can stop websites from tracking you. And yes, there's a big warning about not sleeping next to your phone. And of course, we have all of your fantastic phone calls. And you have me here on Kim Komando Today. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you haven't signed up for our free email newsletters, you're totally missing out. Head over to komando.com/subscribe. Do it right now while you're thinking about it. Komando.com/subscribe. You're going to join 400,000 folks who get their tech news and tips from us every single day. That's komando.com/subscribe. All right, how about we start with Mark in Salem, Oregon?
Hi, Kim. I sure appreciate you.
Oh, thank you. What's going on?
I have been seeing a lot of apps that say, download the app and play games and you'll get paid for it. And I'm not sure any of them are worth the time to even download them.
You know what, Mark? I can't talk to you right now. I'm playing solitaire and I'm making $5,000 right now. So we'll have to talk some other time. Okay? Just kidding. Just kidding. I know. Yeah, it's tough. Well, there are some games where people say that they have made some money from, but these are probably the people who don't get sucked in to say for another $5, you can have more tokens. And then for $15, you can have more time to play the game. But there are some people who say that they do. Like there's one game out there called Solitaire Smash.
Yeah,
and that's where you play solitaire and they give away a couple $100 a day or something like that. And if you're the first person, but keep in mind that, you are seeing all types of ads and they're trying to upsell you left and right. There's bubble cash, there's bingo cash. And, luckily you live in Oregon, because if you live in Arizona, Arkansas, Connecticut, Delaware, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Maine, Montana, South Carolina, South Dakota, or Tennessee, all of these online gaming is called gambling, and you're not allowed to play the games.
Right.
So how much money do you want to make? Or is this just something like, while I'm playing solitaire, is it okay if I try to win $1?
Yeah, I have a full-time job and I'm retired Navy, and so I'm not needing a whole lot. I was just curious because they said that you could make lots of money, and so I would use it to pay off my house.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Sorry, Mark.
Okay.
I appreciate your service, and I'm just being honest with you. You're not going to pay off your house. But there are things that you could do if you wanted to do some work on the side.
Okay.
Have you ever looked at Mechanical Turk?
No, I have not.
Look at that. We have a lot of information about it on the site. Matter of fact, I just got an email from a woman who said, I heard you talk about it on the show, and she said she's making like $30 an hour over at Mechanical Turk. You sign up to be a Turk. Okay, this is Amazon, and you get various tasks that humans have to do. AI cannot do this. So It could be rating search results, correcting spelling, looking at receipts, pulling other information from images. The tasks don't pay much, but they usually don't take a lot of time. Okay? Right. There's also user testing, and that's where you can test out various websites, and they pay you $10 a test. There's, if you want to, there's all these other kind of things. Like if you have, do you have a big backyard?
Pretty good size, yes.
So you might want to look at, there's some other websites like where you can set your backyard up as a dog park, and people will pay you, say, $20 to bring their dog over and let them run around your yard for an hour. Okay.
Oh.
Which I thought is actually pretty cool, as long as you don't mind picking up dog poop, right? So, so that's okay. Mystery shoppers, not so much. You could be a virtual assistant. You could do tasks and help people, like, put their, maybe put a tire on a car, or all kinds of things like that. So if you're going to be looking for a legitimate opportunity and you want to pay off your house, I'm really glad that you called, because, this whole idea of being able to just play games and make a ton of money, it's unrealistic.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't want to see you going down that rabbit hole. And we've got all kinds of links to legitimate opportunities over on the website. So, Mark, just search for commando.com, work at home, and then this Mechanical Turk, as well as the other opportunities I mentioned, will just pop up for you, and then you can scan through the list. And you know that if I'm writing about them, you can trust it, and it's legit. And thank you for your call today, Mark. And once again, thank you for your service to our country. All righty. Next up, Judy in Lexington, South Carolina.
My boyfriend's mother is in her mid-80s, and we visit with her frequently, lunches and dinners and things. And every time we're with her, she wants us to pull up our cell phones and, flip through photos we've taken recently of fun places we've been, or she likens herself to be an ex-crazy cat lady, and I'm a crazy cat lady, so she loves to see the pictures of the cats.
Nice.
And, so it's always fun visiting with her and showing the pictures. We even went so far as to get her a cell phone, thinking we could text her pictures, and then she could look at them at home when she's by herself at her leisure. But that didn't go over so good. She wouldn't charge the phone. She won't use the phone. She didn't like mashing the buttons. She couldn't remember where to go find the pictures.
That turned into more of a nightmare than anything else. Okay.
Right. So I started seeing these ads and things for these digital picture frames, and I thought maybe that would be something we could just get her one of those, set it up in her kitchen when she's having her morning coffee. As we send her pictures, she can just watch them go by and doesn't have to do anything. But in researching all the different frames, my boyfriend went to some big box stores and I got online. We just got more confused with all of the different options, video.
Yeah, let me tell you. Let me tell you what I think is one of the best frames out there. And I normally like to give folks a couple of different ones, but I have used this one with several family members in the same position with great success. Okay. And we're going to send you a link to it. So let me tell you a little bit about it. And then when I put you on hold, Amber's going to send you a link to it. But it's made by a company called Aura, A-U-R-A, and just connects up to Wi-Fi. It's fabulous because what happens is that that you can just send photos right to her frame. Anybody in the family, as a matter of fact, can send photos right to her frame. So it's just not limited to you. She doesn't have to do a thing. But best of all, because she can't figure out really how to use the phone, is that I want you to buy it. You can buy it. You can set it all up at your house, and then you can just give it to her.
Buy it.
Yeah, but you set it all up, and you just give it to her. And because during the setup of this photo frame, you can say, it's not mine. I'm setting it up for somebody else. And so
Gotcha.
if she has an email address, a lot of the information is going to be tied to her email address, not yours. So if she ever needs support or anything, like she can actually call in or an update or whatever. But you can create playlists. You can set up the frame to display photos at specific times, like you mentioned, like just when she's getting her coffee between 8 and 8:30. That's when the new photos. It's truly, truly a fabulous gadget. It's about $150. And again, we'll send you a link to it over, you can pick it up on Amazon. That's the easiest way. And in case you're interested, folks, we also have a link to it over on the website. Hey, by the way, a lot of these digital photo frames is that they limit you to the number of photos that you can get, say 500 photos or 1,000 photos. But if you ever want unlimited photos, that's when they typically offer you a type of subscription or membership. All right, speaking of photos, when it comes to online dating, the way that you look definitely matters because you only have a few seconds to stand out before someone swipes left. After looking at the data of millions of dating profiles, Tinder, Match, OkCupid, and more, revealed the top photos that will get folks to swipe right. First up, the headshot. You want a big smile, think eye contact. Next, full body pics, not just a head. Third, candid photos, because nobody likes a stiff posed photo. Now, if you wear glasses, show them off. Daters like them, but just keep it to 1 or 2 photos. And last but not least, your furry friends. Studies have shown consistently that pet owners appear more responsible and ready for a deep relationship. And you always want to avoid group photos, gym selfies, or old photos. People want to see the real you, not this filtered or outdated version. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, websites are tracking you and tell you how you can make that stop. And we have more of your phone calls here on Kim Komando Today. Hey, if you're sleeping with your phone, we need to make that practice stop, and I'll tell you exactly why later on. But right now, let's talk about Airbnb before we go back to all of your phone calls. Do you know what the average cleaning fee per Airbnb listing is? It's about $75, depending upon the size of the property, and so it's not a huge profit center. But you've been through it. You search and finally find the perfect Airbnb. The price per night seems fair, and just as you're about ready to book, bam, a bunch of these hidden fees just get added to the booking. Now, the bottom line is now a lot higher than you thought it would be. No one likes this, maybe aside from Airbnb and the host. But finding a suddenly higher price just feels icky. Now, Airbnb has made some changes, but you also have to make some changes in your account settings, and you have to opt in to know the full cost of your stay, including any fees, those cleaning fees or any other fees before booking. Now, this does include taxes, though. To turn it on, go to the Airbnb homepage and tap Try It Now on the bottom pop-up that appears. And then bingo, you'll get the full price, the total price of your stay. All right, back to the phones we go with Barry in Lubbock, Texas.
First of all, I really appreciate your emails you sent out and on the website a lot. I spend a lot of time there when I have a tech question, so I appreciate all the effort you guys put into that. My issue is my email I use for personal and company. I need to break away and get an email just for company. I need to break away from my internet service provider, number one, because with the ISP wars, I would need flexibility to move, and things like that. But I want an email that kind of ties to my business, like, business.com, whatever. But I don't want to run a website. I don't have any need for that. And so I kind of know what I want. I just don't know how to get there.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about it, and then I'm going to make a note that we will write this up as a tip, so that this way you can follow all the steps. Okay.
Perfect.
So first of all, it is 100% possible just to have a domain and not set up a website. it's not a bad idea to have put at least some information about your business as even just like a one page that this is my company and this is what we do. And if you want more information, fill out this contact form. I mean, it's, and then you can always register your business with Google. So maybe you'll get some additional clients that way. What kind of business is it?
I run an export company for certain commodities.
Okay, so maybe you just want like a one-page brochure about your business, because everybody now under the sun is going to Google somebody and take a look at not just their LinkedIn profile, but also to see what they might have on the web. And I have found it very beneficial. I helped my sister recently. Jeff put together a new website for her. She has a school, and her website was done, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, and it was just awful. And she called me recently to say that since she has a brand new website, is that not only is she getting more students, but she's finding that when she's going to hire, whether it's somebody in admin or it's another teacher or remote, wherever it may be, is that she's getting better qualified candidates. And they're always referencing that thanks to everything that they saw on the website, they liked what they saw, type of thing. So it may just be something that you want to put in the back of your mind that maybe you don't want it now, but it may actually be beneficial for your business to have that.
Okay.
So once you register the domain, is that you've got a couple of places to go. You mentioned not being tied to an ISP, and I totally am 100% with you on that. So you've got a couple of options. Google Workspace. It's about $6 a month for a basic plan. You get 30 gigs of storage. You get video conferencing, security, all this other good stuff. That allows you to bring an email address over there. And the business plan has additional features like storage and some compliance tools. Another option is Microsoft 365. It's about the same price, but it's going to be housed on Microsoft servers. And if you are a Windows user and you like Outlook, that's probably a really good spot for you. And then there's another place called Zoho Mail, and it's about $1 per user. And there are some free ways you can do it too. But I think for the sake of simplicity is let's just stick with the big boys, the Microsoft and the Google, because they know how to get it done and it makes it easy. And then so you have your email address and then your domain, and then you can have multiple email addresses. So you can have service, support, orders, questions, Big Bad Barry at yourcompany.com, whatever it may be. And it just makes it really easy when you go to filter and you can reply, and you can have different canned emails. Anyway, so you will be the master of your own domain from now on. So what I'm going to do is we're going to write this up as a tip. And because we put together a small business tip about once a week. And I think this is really important information to pass along to everybody. Like, what are the exact steps on how to do this? And so if you don't already get our tips, make sure you head over to commando.com/subscribe. That's commando.com/subscribe. And then this way we can send that out via email. And then, of course, we'll put it on the site. And Barry, let's make sure that you are on the email list so that this way you're going to get that. And thank you for your call today. Hey, if you have a company, get off of Gmail, Hotmail, whatever other mail service you're using. You need to have your own domain. All right, you know that advertisers use tracking links to circumvent any privacy protections. So if you use Firefox, for example, which blocks tracking cookies by default, advertisers can still follow you around the web. They track you through URLs instead of cookies in your browser. So sometimes when you're browsing the web, you'll see a jumbled mess of letters, numbers, and symbols at the end of the web address, the URL. This indicates the different ways that sites may be tracking you. So, for example, if you ever see QID equals in a URL, it refers to the time that you actually searched. Now, overall, these tracking links can reveal some information about you, including your full name, your IP address, some of these previous search terms, your computer's MAC address, your device MAC address, which websites that you just visited. And as a side note, now, not all tracking links are a huge cause for concern. So let's say you get my free newsletters. You might click on one of the links that you see in a story in the newsletter, and this is going to take you over to our website. Now, right off the bat, you're going to take a look at how the URL looks. It's full of some extra information. And what it does is it tells us how you came upon that page, so we know that it's popular or not. So some good rules of thumb to follow. When you see a question mark at the end, it's probably a tracking link. And remember, you can generally take the question mark or the UTM as a sign that the URL is actually tracking you. But, here at Commando, we put your privacy first. So you don't have to worry about us selling your data to third-party advertisers. But a lot of websites, they don't have those scruples, so you have to be careful. So if you want more information about this, you want to see how these links actually look, head over to the website. That's commando.com, and just search for URL. Just put that in the search box or stop websites from tracking you with those URLs. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls. And also, hey, are you still sleeping with your phone in your bed? It's a bad idea. I'm going to tell you why here on Kim Commando Today. Okay, hey there, techies and all you weekend warriors. Are you ready to get more of the Kim Commando Show? Yes, tune into the Kim Commando Show every Saturday and Sunday night for a full 3 hours of just tech wonderfulness and goodness. You can listen in on WLS or you can stream it online at WLSAM.com. Now, if you're more of a podcast person, don't worry. You can also catch the show on your favorite podcast player. So whether you're kicking back with some popcorn or you're out and about, make sure that you get the Kim Commando Show podcast for all the latest news, tips, tricks. Just search for Commando with a K, of course, in your favorite podcast player. And back to the phones we go with Robert in Rockingham, Virginia.
Hello, Kim. First of all, I say thank you for all your advice over the years, your recommendations for products. I put ink in my printer this morning, and I thought, yeah, Kim recommended this, the Epson EP 3700.
No, that's a darn good printer.
And recently, I put the Total AV.
Excellent.
I put the Total AV on my laptop and my wife's laptop. Wonderful products.
Thank you.
This time of year, I begin mowing my grass, and it takes me each time I do, it takes 2 to 3.5 hours, and it's very loud. I want to be able to block the noise of the lawnmower, but also be able to know when I get important calls, like from my wife. Is there such a thing? And maybe even listen to music.
Or a podcast of the Kim Commando Show.
Yes.
We love that. All right. Well, let's talk about how you're going to be styling there as you're cutting the grass. And you know what's going to be happening, Robert? As you're cutting the grass, instead of you just like pushing it all along, it's like you're going to be like dancing. You're going to be like, one hand on the mower, and then you're going to be like getting a little TikTok dance going on. What do you think? Can we do that?
Oh, I could do that, yeah.
It's when we start talking about headphones and earbuds and stuff to block noise, loud noises like this. Let's just talk about what is safe, okay? So then you'll understand what the ratings mean when you start looking at these products. So if you're exposed to 88 decibels of noise, and then the safe exposure time is reduced to like 4 hours a day, okay? As it goes up, the time goes down. So if it's 91 decibels of noise, then you're talking about 2 hours a day, okay? So when we start looking at headphones and earbuds, what they have these ratings is that, like, for example, so if you look at, say, the 3M hearing protector as Bluetooth, all this other stuff, it has a noise reduction rating of 24 decibels. So what that means, and we're going to do the math real quick, is that if you're exposed to a noise level of 100 decibels, and then it's going to reduce it by 24 decibels, and we don't even need a calculator to do this math, right, Robert?
Right.
So we have 76 decibels, and it's under that 88, so we're styling. So you got a couple of options to look at. As I mentioned, the 3M WorkTunes, the Connect Hearing, we'll send you a link to this. These are actually earmuffs, and so they have that noise reduction rating. When you see it, it'll say 24 decibels. Okay. And it will work with your phone. It also has an integrated mic. So when your wife calls and says, "Oh, honey bunny, the love of my life, I can't wait for you to get home. I'm sitting here in a sexy negligee, just waiting for you to get done mowing the lawn," that you can be like, "I'm done now, baby. I'm on my way." What do you think?
I love it.
Okay. Now, if you don't like the earmuffs types, and then there's also earplug headphones, and so they also allow you to take the phone call. So if you don't want the earmuffs, like I'm talking about, or you just want the earplug headphones, we're going to send you links to both of these that you can take a look at them over on Amazon, because it's really a preference thing. I mean,
but is there anything that actually uses noise canceling technology? They could block the outside noise.
Some of these have noise reduction and noise isolating, so you may find that this is all built into it. And it has various settings as far as how high or how much that you want it. It's not quite to the level of, which I love on my AirPods, where I can say transparency versus noise cancellation. Because like when I'm going for a run, I actually want to hear the cars, right? A little safety tip versus noise canceling that somebody could be tapping you on the shoulder and like that's the only way that you would know that they were even like breathing around you. So take a look at both of these, and they come with 30-day money-back guarantees. But I think either one of these would be good. My preference would actually be the ear muff style instead of the earplugs. I think that's probably maybe more conducive for what you're doing when you're out there working and mowing the lawn. And Robert, thank you for your call today. Having a lawnmower, those times are totally changing right now because now we have robotic lawnmowers. And, I'm telling you, if you haven't taken a look at these, they're pretty sweet. And depending upon the features and capabilities, say the entry levels, they start at around $500. Now, the high-end models, which, for example, has GPS mapping and obstacle detection, and some of them even will avoid the dog poop, they can cost over $3,000. But let's take a look at a few of these. One is the Husqvarna Automower 310. It's a mid-range model. It has a range of about a quarter of an acre, and it can handle slopes of 22 degrees. Now, this one is $1,300. Yeah, that's a lot for a robotic lawnmower. Now, another popular model, and you really have to get the checkbook out for this one, it's the RoboMow RS630. Doesn't that sound great? The RoboMow RS630. Now, this one has a range of almost an acre, and it can handle slopes of up to 20 degrees, and it has a cutting width of 22 inches. So it's a lot better than the one that's $1,300. So how much do you think this one is? You ready? $2,200. Now, of course, like anything in technology, it's always going to come down in price at some point. Like, for example, the robotic vacuums, when they first came out, some of them were close to $2,000. And now you can get a lesser-known brand like an Effie for about $300 on Amazon for a robotic vacuum. So this time next year, it's probably going to be more affordable. But if you want to be the cool kid on the block to have the first robotic lawnmower, just know it's going to cost you some money. Hey, I just want to take a moment and to say thank you to all you guys and gals because we recently revamped all the newsletters and meaning from top to bottom in the content. And I just want to say I'm so thrilled at all the positive feedback that we've been getting because, we've been sending out 20 million emailed newsletters a month, and that's a huge number. So when you make a change, it's always a risk like, oh, what if everybody hates it? Well, we did things the right way, meaning that we got rid of the ads. We put a lot of the content just directly into the newsletter itself. And if you haven't tried our newsletters yet, head over to commando.com/subscribe. And maybe you tried the newsletters in the past and you said, oh, I just got too many of the newsletters. They had too many ads. They had too many pop-ups. It was just something that I didn't love. I assure you, you are going to love them right now. Like, for example, I just looked at the stats before I came on the air, and we had like 7,500 thumbs up and only 400 thumbs down. And most of the people who gave us the thumbs down, I have to tell you, there was like, oh, I don't like change. I like the old format. And so again, just do me a favor is that if you haven't tried our newsletters, head over to commando.com/subscribe and give them a shot because I think you're really going to love them. All right, it makes sense to charge your phone when you're sleeping, but firefighters reveal that doing so is deadly. And here's why you should power up your mobile devices while you're awake. Now, one word of advice is going viral from Kent Fire and Rescue. If you're sleeping, don't charge your phone. Why? Because smartphone batteries, even the new ones, they can explode. And you can't smell fire while you're sleeping. So if your phone starts to burn, you wouldn't even know what's happening. It's very scary. Now, cell phone batteries have been known to blow up for a multitude of reasons. Overheating, maybe some physical damage to the phone itself, normal wear and tear. Now, so many of us charge our phones next to the bed. It's super convenient, especially when you use your phone as an alarm clock. But doing so gives you no time to react if the device suddenly goes on fire. But if you do have to charge your phone while sleeping, just choose a location far, far away from your pillow in your bed. Hey, do me a favor, tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and the Kim Komando Today podcast because everyone needs more tech smarts and knowledge is power, and you can find me at commando.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.